Alright, time to say my opening line. Start this video off. Let's do this. Okay, here we go. Alrighty! Oh, no, that's not it. That's not my line. Shit. What's my... Oh, yeah, I got it. This is it. Okay, so I got my fucking rant robe on. Nah, shit, that's not my line. That's the guy I'm ripping off. That's not me. I'm confusing it here. What's... Oh, yeah, this is it. Since 2010, I've been entertaining myself while... No, shit! Why did I keep fucking this up? I mean, I'm confusing other YouTubers with myself, ripping people off, forgetting who I am. This is it. I got it. This is the one. Here we go. Welcome to another edition of the most consistent and daily upload. No. What am I doing? What am I doing here? I'm ripping off. Oh yeah, this is it. Hello everybody. I am Jay Shady, the one, the only, the original voice of reason. So, this video is a long time coming. I've been pushing this to the side. I gotta admit, my bad, my fault. I've been a bad boy. But I'm gonna make it up to you because I got my third Q&A video. I've had these questions for a while, but for one reason or another, I just haven't done this video. Once again, I'm sorry, but here it is, and I'm gonna try to be more consistent with this. And I've got a special treat for you since I made you wait so long for these. I've had these questions for a while. I'm gonna answer more questions than I usually do, so this is probably gonna be a more lengthier Q&A video. I've got 13 people who asked me questions here, and some of them even asked me more than one question. That's a lot of questions. So here we go. Let's go right into this. So let's kick it off with Ace Coco. He asks, who's the most valuable professional wrestler in history of the business? I would have to go with Hulk Hogan. I mean, I guess it would either be Hulk Hogan or Austin. There's nobody else really to, if you really think about it. Those are the guys who pioneered the two biggest eras in wrestling history. And if you look at Hulk Hogan and the crowd he drew, and while the Attitude Era was hot, I mean, in the 80s, wrestling was all over the place. I mean, the numbers probably, I would have to research this, but I'm sure the numbers were much higher than the numbers in the Attitude Era. Just watching a Spinnernet vid, he said that at one show, it was called The Main Event in 1988, they had 33 million viewers watching that show. Could you imagine? 33 million viewers watching wrestling. And that was at the time Hulk Hogan was on the top, so I may have to give it to Hulk Hogan. And then he also asks, best pay-per-view name ever. I thought about this. You know, this is probably not a popular one, but I'm going to go with Bad Blood. B-A-D-D, Bad. Bad Blood. I just love that name ever since it came out, the first one when I was a kid. And it sounded right to the point. Blood, bad, it sounded badass, you know. And I like the idea of having the Hell in a Cell at those pay-per-views, starting with the first Hell in a Cell ever. So yeah, my favorite pay-per-view name ever, just childhood memories. Bad Blood I'll go with. Thanks for the questions. Then I get Mitochondria. He asked a long question like he usually does. Basically, to sum it up, he asks what my opinion is on the YWC overstating people like CM Punk's worth and Dean Ambrose's worth and overhyping them and, you know, saying that, you know, CM Punk is the greatest heel of all time, or, you know, that his match with Taker is the greatest match ever. You know, a lot of this shit happens and it's crazy. It's insane. A lot of these people are just insane. The way they overhype some people on the internet. It seems that anybody who comes from the indies is just like a fucking legend to these people no matter what. It's like they're the best of the best, better than past legends just because they come from the indies, you know? With Dean Ambrose, a lot of, you know, I don't see as much of Dean Ambrose recently as, you know, probably before. That's probably because WWE hasn't been doing much with the individual Dean Ambrose. It's been the Shield. But, you know, when I look at Dean Ambrose, I really do see something special, something unique, something different than what we usually get. And I do see somebody that can be a breakthrough star and could be the next face of the company if WWE chooses to use him the right way. So I'm not going to bash Dean Ambrose. Quite frankly, I mean, I really don't think that the hype for Dean Ambrose is there like the hype is for CM Punk, where they're way overstating Punk. And like I've said many times, I am a CM Punk fan, but CM Punk marks take this shit way too much out of proportion. With Dean Ambrose, I do see something different. I see this crazy character, something not there. OTRS made this point where they see something of Brian Pillman and Roddy Piper in him, and I agree. And, you know, we'll see where it goes with Dean Ambrose. I don't think that WWE has dropped the ball like some people may say. You know, a lot of people, it's just they're so impatient these days. They want stars to be made just like that. You know, these people complain about WWE skyrocketing people like Ryback and shit. But then on the other side, they argue that they bury people the second that they get there and they don't build stars fast enough. Now, with Dean Ambrose, I think if we wait, hopefully we give WWE the benefit of the doubt. I mean, he's in the Shield right now. He's in a tag team. Let's wait till he breaks through. I mean, look at the way Michaels and Hart, people like that, how they took their time building them up and why they were the better for it, them taking their time. Hopefully WWE is going that same route with Ambrose, where eventually Ambrose will break through and become, you know, an icon and the best to his potential. Chuck Norris asks, lots of people always bitch about old wrestlers coming back, but how would you feel about a stable of old wrestlers getting together to put over lots of the younger guys? I'm not one of those people that bitches about old wrestlers coming back. I think the problem that people have with old wrestlers coming back is the way that WWE uses them. The way that they're just being used for the same old rematches, and I agree. I mean, if you're going to use legends, that should be a pro. You should use it to your advantage. You should use the legends in order to put over the new guys the way Chris Jericho does, without, you know, having the legends job every day the way they do with Chris Jericho, but having them do feuds, like having Rock do feuds with people like Dolph Ziggler, Daniel Bryan, you know, other people than just CM Punk and John Cena. Same with Brock Lesnar, having Brock Lesnar go with against Ryback or Cesaro or whatever. Just bringing in old wrestlers to put over the young talent, not just having legend versus legend. Where are you going to go from there? You know, I think WWE is totally fucking up, and that's why people are sick of the old wrestlers coming back. But I think a stable of old wrestlers, right now I'm just dying for a stable in general. I mean, when was the last stable that we had? What was it? The Nexus, and look how bad that fucking failed. You know, we really need a stable right now. And a stable of old wrestlers to put over young talent, I think that would be fucking great. It's just too bad that WWE has this fixation with just pairing legends against legends without having legends feud with young guys. I just don't see the point there. Will Ferrell #1 asks, do you like Cole and JBL as a commentary duo? I mean, they're not anywhere on par with like Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon, or JR and King, or JR and Paul Heyman, or anything like that. I mean, I could tolerate them. I think that they get off topic a little too much. I mean, JBL is good. JBL is funny because he's the only heel, you know? He's the only heel commentator, so he adds something different. He calls Michael Cole out on his bullshit, so I enjoy that. I mean, they're okay as a duo. I mean, you know, what am I going to say? Then he says, do you listen to the John Layfield and Michael Cole show on Web Talk Radio? No, I don't. Then he says, do you watch Sons of Anarchy, Justified, or The Americans? I don't watch any of those shows. I haven't gotten around to them. I've just been recently watching a lot of shows that are on TV just from Netflix, and just because I have nothing really to do. Out of those shows, the one that I would probably pick up first is Justified. It just sounds like a show that I would watch out of those three first. I mean, I'm sure I'll get around to these shows eventually, but right now I'm not watching these shows. Thanks for the question, though. Next, the Multimedia Assassin. Got a fucking phone ring in here, guys. This is ridiculous. This is unprofessional. Who is that? Alright, whatever. Multimedia Assassin asks, how would you feel if we had the Big Five in this day and age? WWE, WCW, ECW, TNA, and ROH. You know, the more competition, the better. But I mean, if if it was straight up ECW and straight up WCW, not like a WWE version of those. If we had ECW and WCW, would TNA and ROH even exist? Would there need to be a point for those companies to exist? No. I mean, ECW and WCW are better than those other two companies in my opinion. So I mean, it would just be a dream if all those companies existed. This way WWE could stop being so stale, stop trying to play it so safe and not having any ambition and motivation to do good TV. I really wish we had companies to rival WWE. I think everybody agrees with that. Then he also asks, would you consider WCW and ECW as part of the Attitude Era, or is the Attitude Era just exclusive to the WWF? You know, WWE likes to write their own history and make everything look out like only the WWE invented wrestling and great moments, whatever. But if it wasn't for WCW giving WWF competition, there would be no Attitude Era. Vince would have stayed with the gobbledygook or the Doink the Clown shit. You know, all your dumbass Repo Man gimmicks. He would have stayed with that. The only reason they went to the Attitude Era was because of the NWO in WCW. And the only reason why the Attitude Era on WWF side was so great was because they took a lot of ECW's ideas and used it for their own benefit, made themselves better using Paul Heyman's and ECW's ideas. So the Attitude Era isn't just WWF, it is a time period in the wrestling business. It's the Monday Night Wars. It's the whole boom, the wrestling boom, the Attitude Era, when everything in the wrestling had attitude. ECW was the innovator of attitude, and WCW was beating the shit out of WWF in attitude and forced WWF to call it the Attitude Era. So, of course, the Attitude Era, no matter what WWF tries to say, it goes on to WCW and ECW. It's not just WWE. Then Andrew T asks, did you have sex with guys before? Now, I guess this is what I get when I said that I would answer any question that I get. No, I haven't had sex with guys before, you know. To each his own. I don't care what other people do. I just care about my life and myself. Me, personally, I am just attracted to women, and I just look forward to banging women, not men. If that's somebody else's thing, then that's their thing, but it's not mine. Alright, then he also asks a more non-crazy question. Do you have a wrestling DVD collection? I have some wrestling DVDs, like maybe 10. I'm not a collector or anything. I'm not one of those people, so it's nothing to boast about. It's nothing that I'm gonna make a video. Oh, here's my DVDs. These are so cool. You know, it's nothing to talk about. Then he also asks, what if you had a time machine? What period of U.S. history would you go to? Any other period but this one, that's for sure. I was definitely born in the wrong times. I mean, if I was born 80 years ago, I would have been happy. Jesus Christ, why am I getting so much attention right now? But I mean, you know, I'm a fucking, if you don't know this about me, I'm a 20s enthusiast, a 30s enthusiast, basically 20s to 90s, and that's where I stopped. But if I had to choose, I would like to grow up in the 1950s. I'm a rock and roller at heart, and it would just be great seeing the birth of rock and roll and Elvis and all that shit. And I would just fit into that greaser community, that badass community, you know, with the leather jackets. I'm always wearing leather jackets, you know, the longish slicked back hair, you know, that fits me perfectly. I love the lifestyle. I always liked the greaser mentality, and I would just love, you know, going to a girl's house and the girls in poodle skirts and telling them to climb down from their window in order to sneak out and, you know, go to a drive-in movie and make out and, you know, make some babies with some chicks. I think that'd be pretty neat. So I would go to the 1950s. Very badass time period in my opinion. Then Clarkson 440 asks, do you hate the Raw intro nowadays and miss the old Raw intros back from 1997 to 2001? I mean, I think everybody hates the Raw intro today. I mean, I'd rather take Nickelback over this fucking bullshit. This tonight. That's the worst intro ever, in my opinion. I mean, not even just the 1997 to 2001. I think across the nation, the move to the music and the fucking music. I think that was a great intro too, on par, just as great as the Thorn in Your Eye. So I mean, but those two, Thorn in Your Eye and Across the Nation, nothing beats those. I mean, the intro is just so fucking pussy. It just totally fits the rated PG direction. This weak ass lame intro. Then Patrick Bateman from American Psycho asks, what are your thoughts on the WWE TNA storyline where TNA wrestlers start interfering in matches on Raw and SmackDown and have it end at WrestleMania, where the stipulation is the losing brand must go off the air permanently? Who do you think would be in the match, and what type of match would it be? Mouthful of words. You know, this is obviously just a dream thing, a fantasy thing, because this would not happen in real life, unless WWE bought out TNA the way they bought out WCW. So, who do I think would be in? I think, what type of match would it be? I would have it be a TNA type of match. I don't watch TNA, so I'm not sure all the types of matches that they have, but I would have it be a TNA match. This way it'd be a first at WrestleMania, first type of match being shown at WrestleMania. I guess do they have something called like a Lethal Lockdown? I mean, that sounds cool. You know, I don't know if that would fit, but it sounds cool. I guess a Lethal Lockdown or some TNA type of match. I would have it be a 5-on-5, 5 guys from the WWE, 5 guys from TNA, elimination match. From WWE, you could have John Cena, you could have CM Punk, The Undertaker. You could add in some new guys like Ziggler and Daniel Bryan in there to be Team WWE. TNA side, you could have Sting, I guess, Jeff Hardy, Bully Ray, AJ Styles, and whoever else is on top in TNA right now. I don't watch TNA. I don't know. Abyss, is Abyss still around? I don't know. Somebody from TNA. 5th guy. Yeah, I would have it be like that. Those 5 guys versus the other 5 guys. Elimination match. Lethal Lockdown or some shit like that. And then Maddie L asks, I would like to know if you think WWE will stage a major pay-per-view in the UK again, such as they did at Wembley many moons ago. As an American, what would your feelings be on this? Would you give a shit? You know, I don't think WWE will do it, and it's a shame, you know. I always say that WrestleMania, and especially WrestleMania, needs to start going other places. I want to see WrestleMania in London. I want to see WrestleMania in, you know, Asia. WrestleMania in Paris. You know, I want to see some international stuff being done. You know, I think they're limiting themselves just staying here. But do I think they would do it? I don't know, because of the time difference. Because it would, all the spoilers would hit the net, and that would stop some people from ordering the pay-per-view because they already know what's going to happen. That is an issue, I will admit. Unless they were able to air it live time, but that wouldn't happen, you know that, because you have to air it here in the 8 o'clock pretty much times, 8 p.m. time slot. You know, I would love for it to happen if they found a way for it, because I do care about that. I do want to see international WrestleManias. WrestleMania should be expanding, not just staying in one place. And then he also asks another question. Where is it? And then also, have you ever visited my pleasant land of the United Kingdom? You know, I haven't. I haven't gone out of America, but I really want to. I really want to visit the UK, Paris, Italy, stuff like that. I'm a huge UK fan. You know, I love bands, people from the UK. You know, Beatles is my favorite band. You know, I like radio. I love Radiohead. Just Charlie Chaplin is one of my favorite. He's a British. Alfred Hitchcock, one of my favorite directors. Stanley Kubrick. I mean, you know, British people did a lot of great fucking stuff. I would love to go to the United Kingdom, though. You know, I just think that people from the UK are just so much more cooler than Americans. I mean, just listen to the way they chant, the chants they use. And I think they're more carefree. They know how to have more fun and aren't so laid back and, you know, fucking uptight the way a lot of Americans are, you know. I met these two girls last summer when I was staying at Florida. They were from Newcastle, I think. Hot fucking girls, so fucking slamming hot. Oh man, and the accent and everything. And I was talking to them on Facebook recently, and apparently they're supposed to come to New York this summer. I really hope they do, because these girls are so fucking hot. But yeah, and I have some other chicks from the UK added on my Facebook, and they're just like so free. They're posting up like half naked pictures. I love it. You know, I would love to go to the UK and meet some fucking willing chicks. So one day I will go to the United Kingdom. Then WWE Fan 2000 Geo asks, what live events did you attend? Honestly, there's too many to name. I can't even remember, because when I was a kid, my dad is a doorman in New York City, and he had connections with somebody who worked for the USA Network, and of course USA Network airs Raw. So whenever Raw would come in my area, I would always get free tickets all the time. So when I was a kid, 97 to like 2004, 2005, every time Raw came around, I would get free tickets and I would go to Raw and get some pretty good fucking seats, like front row seats. So way too many events to name off the top of my head. Memorable ones, I went to the Raw event where Kane unmasked and unmasked for the first time after his match with Triple H. I went to WrestleMania 20, WrestleMania 29, of course. I went to a bunch of those old Raws I can't even remember. Like, you know, so much shit. And I went to the best one, ECW One Night Stand in 2006 when Rob Van Dam beat John Cena. The greatest crowd ever, in my opinion. Just one of the best nights of my life. It was just so much fun. So yeah, way too many events to name. Then he also asks, favorite Attitude Era match. You know, if you want to classify 1997 as the Attitude Era, I know everybody has a different starting point, but I would put in there Austin versus Brett at Mania 13. But if you see that as a pre-Attitude Era match and something that was working towards the Attitude Era, then I would put in stuff like maybe King of the Ring 1998, Undertaker versus Mankind. I mean, just fucking phenomenal. I mean, really took it to another level and really defined the Attitude Era with the crazy shit they did. Also, the Bad Blood 1997 Hell in a Cell match with Shawn Michaels and Taker. I mean, to me, that is a perfect match. Everything about that match, the build-up, being the first Hell in a Cell match, Shawn Michaels falling from the top of the cell, bleeding like a motherfucker. The match itself, the greatest debut ever. When Kane debuted, no debut was ever that effective. And the ending to that match, and it just made you really be in anticipation and suspense to see what was going to be on Raw the next night. Who was this Kane motherfucker, you know? Yeah, I thought that match was perfect. Austin versus Rock, WrestleMania 17 is another favorite. You know, any of the fucking TLC matches, you know, I'm not good with favorites, but those are some of my favorites right there. If I had to flat out say one, I guess I would say Austin versus Rock at Mania 17, maybe. Then, let's see. Y2 Jericho Nation asks, when Cena wins the title from Rock, how long will his fucking run be, and who will beat him for the title? You know, I don't think it's gonna be like 2006 to 2007 long, you know, I really don't think it is. I say maybe SummerSlam, he loses the title maybe. But the thing is, who is on the level of a main eventer to take away the title from Cena? I mean, really, now that CM Punk is gone, who is it? Who's there, you know? I mean, there's nobody. Ziggler's heavyweight champion. I mean, Daniel Bryan isn't at that level right now. I don't see Mark Henry, Ryback, I don't see that being at that level to carry the main belt right now. You know, Cesaro, all these people, WWE just has way too many mid-carders and not enough main eventers. The only person I see taking the belt from Cena is CM Punk whenever CM Punk comes back. Around SummerSlam, I'd say. I don't think it's going to be like a year-long title reign. God, I hope not. Then Ronald Church asks a question on the lines of, when Rock comes back for WrestleMania 30 after being gone for about 6-7 months, do I think The Rock will be The Rock of old and not The Rock like we've gotten recently? You know, I think he's going to be The Rock like we've gotten recently. I mean, it's just the PG label. It's just the direction of the show. If the direction of the show was TV-14 or, you know, barring the lines about PG, you know, pushing the boundaries, then, yeah, we'd probably get a Rock of old. But the show doesn't call for the old style Rock. You know, we're going to get the same old Rock that we've been getting. If Rock even comes back, you know, that's up in the air right now. So, you know, I don't think that when The Rock comes back for WrestleMania 30, we're going to get vintage Rock, in my opinion. I think the Attitude Era days are just over. We have to face it. Then last, Young Phenom Drake asks, Rock suffered an injury that will cause him to give up wrestling. Do you think the idiot fans in the YWC would be happy about that? Well, you know, I'm still skeptical if it is a legitimate injury the way they're saying it. You know, they're saying that he tore his abdominal muscles off his bone, and yet he's not getting surgery for this. I don't know. Tearing your muscles off your bone, that sounds pretty painful. Yet this guy's posting tweets that he's doing hardcore workouts. I don't know, that just sounds physically impossible to be doing workouts, to not get surgery, and to put surgery off of what sounds like a really fucking horrible injury. You know, I'm just not buying all this. I'm thinking that maybe he did injure himself a little, but there is something more to this than just injury. I think there is some bad blood that happened, because tearing your abdominal muscle, not doing surgery, and still working out, I mean, I think you would have to be Superman in order to do that shit. But what do I think about the idiot fans being happy about that? I mean, you have sick fucks in the YWC that, you know, don't take life morals into perspective, you know. They don't have any conscience. They don't care if a person is injured. I mean, sick people will be sick people, you know. People want to be happy about that. You know, that's a shame that, you know, you have to hope for somebody being injured in order to not, you know, watch him on TV, you know, whatever. Then he also asks, what's your take on Foley getting taken off of the Hall of Fame on TV, then being put back in due to fan backlash? You know, it was just a shame that even in the first place, WWE was daring to take Foley off of the fucking Hall of Fame on TV. Mick Foley, a guy that did so much, that literally put his life on the line every single night, that broke his bones, fucking knocked his teeth out for the WWE, and they were actually not going to show him. That's just disrespectful in my opinion. In my opinion, Foley really has to man up. Foley has to stop being a bitch. Stop. I mean, I'm not trying to knock Mick Foley here, but he has to stop sucking up to the WWE, you know. Maybe he's in a financial situation where he has to be a company man, but I mean, I'm hearing things that he's the general manager of Saturday Morning Slam, you know. He's doing this Santa Claus initiative he was doing to try to get Santa Claus on the Hall of Fame for WWE. I mean, he just needs to stop being a yes man. Stop letting WWE make him look out to be a fucking fool. Especially when they were threatening to not use him in the Hall of Fame on TV. I mean, I just wish Mick Foley could stop. Could just, like, gain some respect for himself and tell WWE to go fuck themselves. Like all of these fucking people, these legends should be doing. Who why is it so hard for me to say this? WWE are just using for their own sick benefit and just disrespecting all these legends. You know? There you go. There's my Q&A number 3 video. Sorry it took so long, but as I promised, it was a lengthy video. I promise to be more consistent throughout. For my future Q&As, you can either comment on this video, do one of two things, please. Don't do other stuff, because it's really hard for me to track down questions if they're not done in this way. Please comment on this video your future Q&A questions, or more preferably, what I would rather like you to do is send me an inbox titled Q&A and ask me a question to my inbox. For me, going to my inbox is the fastest and easiest way to get questions, but if you have to, you can comment on this video with questions for future Q&As. But please do one of those two. Don't ask me Q&A questions on other videos, because I eventually forget about them and it's hard for me to track those down. So please do one of those two. Okay, there you go. I hope you enjoyed it. Once again, sorry for the wait, but here I am. Here it is. There you go. I will be back with Q&A number 4 once I get enough questions. I am Jay Shady, the voice of recent. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you later.